Welcome to Puro Pinche Real Estate, guys. This is the podcast where we highlight Latino agents kicking ass in the real estate industry. And to be honest with you, every time we come and try to find a guest, we always scroll through the NAREP 250 list. We've had people on like Gino Montalvo over in Corpus. Mark Dimas has been interviewed as well. And a couple other local San Antonio top producers. And NAREP never tends to let us down. And we can't wait to share with you guys the next guest that we found. Number 10, actually, in the top 250 list of NAREP. And we're just super stoked. And Vanessa's going to give a little intro, and we're going to get this rolling, guys. So
we have Andres Hoyos. Here from LA, and we are super excited to have you. You are with Sync Brokerage. You own Sync Brokerage, and we would love just to hear a little bit about you and your story.
That's correct. First of all, guys, thank you so much for the invitation, reaching out. Truly a pleasure. Love the name of the podcast, and love also giving back to our community, especially our Latino community.
Oh, yeah.
Where do we start?
What got you here? Like, what's your journey? Like, tell people, because everybody sees the awards, the bright lights, the accolade, the success, but really, like, where did Andres Hoyos come from? Like, what is your backstory that you wish you could tell? And this might obviously help the newer agent that's watching. So whatever you want to point out and bring out, like, we're all ears, man. The platform is yours.
Thank you. So I got in real estate by accident. I came into U.S. in 2001. And from the beginning, I started working at restaurants, just, in the kitchen, cooking, delivering pizzas, cleaning tables. I did that for about 6 years. And, I was going through that cycle of life that I was frustrated, and I was thinking, like, I need to do something with my life other than just being in the kitchen, cleaning tables and so forth. And one day I was actually leaving a club, and as I was waiting for my car, another gentleman actually approached me, and he pointed out, hey, you should come and work for me, and gave me a business card. And I was looking at it, and I'm like, real estate. So back then, like, my English is not really, it's not the best. So imagine, 16, 15 years ago, I was like, what is real estate? So he tells me, it's selling houses. So that was on a Friday. On Monday, that was in Montebello, passing LA. So I went to his office, and I fell in love with the environment. Like, you walked in and everyone was kind of like having a great time while making money. We're looking towards the end of 2008.
Oh, damn.
So it was like right at the edge, on mid 2008. And so when I walked in, I saw the office, obviously coming from a restaurant, the kitchen to an office, completely different. So I fell in love with the environment, fell in love with freedom, just thinking about, like, owning my own time, being my own boss. And so I started going to that office for about 6 months. He will tell me, just anyone who's looking to buy, sell, refinance, that's a client. And I started working in East LA, Campton, door knocking, passing flyers in supermarkets and all of that stuff. Wasn't able to close any deals, and I will say that it was because I had the wrong mentorship. Just the fact that, hey, anyone who wants to buy or sell, that's a client. Fast forward, I went back to the restaurant, and then I met these Moroccan gentleman. His name is Marty Azule. He was my mentor, actually the guy who taught me real estate the right way. And he needed someone that speaks Spanish to handle leads. So I went and started working with him as an assistant. That was early 2009.
Okay.
And
he lasted about a year.
Yeah, so I did about, super struggling. Yeah, so when I'm thinking like trying to sell houses without cell phone because I couldn't afford a phone. So on the weekends, I used to borrow my mom's phone just to make phone calls and clients to call me back. And Monday to Friday, there was no phone because I couldn't afford one. Yeah. And putting gas with coins, that was a struggle. Oh. I remember when I moved out and I was renting a garage, I got evicted. And with $20, I used to go to the 99-cent store and do grocery shopping for the week with $20.
We've been there. Yeah.
So when I joined this other company, Rodeo Realty at that time, meanwhile that I was learning as an assistant, during the day at lunchtime I used to go to the Roth and just eat like the lunch when they put like how do you call it, the buffet at the grocery store. So that was my lunch, just go in and eat inside, and so you don't have to pay and then walk out. So I got the proper mentorship and coaching working under Mario Azule. And my first year with him, I sold about 33 homes.
Oh, damn.
Wow.
Yeah, that was the REO boom.
Yeah.
So working with the default industry.
Yeah.
Obviously, there was a struggle to get there. I was, working. I was coming in the office until, let me see. I used to come in early in the morning, like 8 o'clock, and I used to go to the restaurant, still do part-time, work until midnight. So it was, I guess, 12, 14, 16-hour days until I sold my first house. And I remember clearly, even nowadays, when he told me the minute you sell the first house, the second one will come.
Yep.
Third one. Next thing you know, you're selling real estate without knowing.
Yep.
And that's exactly what happened. I sold my first house. Second one came in. I made $8,000 on the first one. I felt super wealthy. I went to a bank, opened a bank account. Within 4 months, I hired my wife's cousin. He used to do ballet. So I hired him to be kind of like my assistant.
Oh, damn.
Because I was getting busy.
Yeah.
So he started working with me 2009, 33 homes, 2010. I did about the same. 2011, I got my license.
Okay.
So I sold about 60, 70 properties without license, working on as a an assistant.
Okay.
Oh, damn.
2011 got my license. Obviously, right in between, you always have the setbacks, right?
Yeah. So just to kind of paint the picture, how old were you like during this time? Was it like
25?
So it was young, yeah.
25, 26, something like
Yeah.
that. 20, 25, 26. Right when I passed my exam and I was waiting for my license, I did a short sale. I double-ended the short sale. I didn't do anything wrong. The only thing was that when I went to grab the keys from the seller locked himself inside the house, and that was after closing escrow.
Yeah.
Buyer was waiting outside for the keys, obviously.
Yeah.
We tried to evict the seller. We couldn't.
No.
Long story short, she filed a lawsuit. She filed with the DRE.
Wow.
The DRE finds out, hey, this guy just passed the exam and this is a closed transaction already. And so they go back and they find out like, oh, I was selling real estate.
Wow.
So now that places my license on hold for 6 months.
Wow.
I bought a house. My wife was pregnant. And I'm thinking like, shit.
Yeah.
Like, if I don't get my license, I'm not going back to a restaurant. Like, I'm
Yeah.
already thinking like, I got to make a move to another state and get my license somewhere else.
Yeah.
So, in a moment of desperation, I decided, you know what? I'm going to go to the DRE. And I walked into the deputy, his office, and I'm like, look, I don't have an appointment, but let me tell you my story.
Yeah.
So I told him, this is what happened. This is where I am. My wife is pregnant. Actually, my wife just delivered the baby. This is what I'm planning to do for a living. Like, I need help to, resolve the issue. So I remember this deputy tell me, he told me, off record, just pay them off. They want money.
Yeah.
So I came back to the office and we reached out to the other attorney. We did a settlement. We closed that case. Within a couple of days, the deputy calls me. He's like, your license is in the mail. Congratulations.
Go ahead.
And we actually became really good friends.
Nice.
Day to day. So
And the DRE, what does that stand for?
the Department of Real Estate.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we have the Texas Real Estate Commission. We call it TREC. So the DRE is very similar to TREC. Okay, that's understandable. Yeah.
And so I got my license, and that was like the biggest blessing ever. And from that moment, I remember I was in the driveway, and one day I was in my car, and I was crying just by myself, thinking about, shit, I'm not getting my license. But the minute I'm going to get my license, like, everybody's going to get to know my name. Yeah. I remember that clearly. So I got my license 2011, and then I started building my own team. So I got 4 buyer's agents.
Oh, damn.
And I was just the lead generation guy on the phone from 8 to 11 in the morning, dropping CMAs and listing presentation packages between 12 to 3 o'clock, and back on the phones from 4:30 or 5 to 8:30 at night. So I was doing 3 to 5 listing appointments per week. I got to a point to have about 30 listings on my own, generating, back then it was short sales and foreclosures.
Yeah.
So all of the incoming leads, they were the buyers' leads. I was channeling those buyers to my agents, 50%.
Yeah.
And we were double ending, and they were flipping the houses. Listing come back to us.
Come back,
We did that for about 3 to 4 years. We moved to Remax. I was a top producing agent for about 3 years. I remember in 1 month we did 17 escrows. And so my personality is always looking for the challenge.
Yeah.
And so in my mind, I was thinking like, okay, how many
What's
homes
next?
can I sell and
what's
go
next?
through the same
Yeah.
process?
Mm-hmm.
So I decided, you know what, let me get into management and recruiting. So I went and talked to the owner of the company at that time, and I said, you're lacking a leader. I don't know how to recruit. I don't know how to manage an office, but I'm willing to put up the work for free and help you while I'm learning.
In return.
So I did that for about 2.5 years. We started building that office, growing that office. I learned a lot. I made a lot of mistakes on somebody else's wallet.
Yeah.
And then in 2017, while I was thinking in buying a franchise for KW, thank God didn't happen. I was looking at Compass, how Compass was actually getting market share as a traditional company. I learned a lot about Keller Williams. I actually went to Austin for the training. Yeah, for the training.
Yeah.
And I learned that their business model wasn't sustainable. And out of the 400 agents, less than 20% are producing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Then I saw, okay, the cloud-based company, all online, it's a beautiful business model. You make a lot of money. You don't have any liabilities, but you don't have culture.
Or guidance.
Or guidance.
Yeah.
There is no, as an agent, you don't belong anywhere.
Yeah.
You're just in the cloud.
Yep.
So I said there is an opportunity to start something small, boutique, kind of hybrid in between the two. And so I decided I had $20,000 in my account. I went to my wife and I said, I have this feeling here that it's just telling me that I need to open my own brokerage. And so I went ahead and I opened my own brokerage, filed the corporation, started working on the logo, all of that stuff. Started with 8 agents. My business model was, low overhead.
Yeah.
I had no receptionists. The only person that I had was the transaction coordinator in my space, the lease. My overhead was about $11,000 a month. And I said in my mind, I want to build a company that I want to work for.
Yes.
And if I can support the overhead with one of my closings, then I'm good. I'm not gonna shut down. I want to build a company that is bulletproof. So right about 3 to 4 months in, we started kind of like generating revenue, 15, 20,000, and that was good. Organically, from the beginning, the main core values of our company has been promoting happiness, a good energy, a good environment, positivity.
Yes.
Everything else comes along.
Yep.
And 12 months into the business, we got about 28 agents. 2018, Compass approached me. They were buying out everyone. And so when I saw their platform back then, it wasn't anything impressive. They made us an offer. And while I was driving home, in my head, I was like, shit, it's been 12, 16 months and I already got an offer.
Yeah.
So I said, maybe what I'm doing is, I actually called one of my good friends and I shared with him, and he's like, bro, what you're doing, just keep doing it bigger and then come back in 5 years and sell it back to them.
Yeah.
So that's when my mindset changed. And I was like, okay, now I'm going to take it seriously. And all of the revenue that the company was generating, I put it back into the company, building a website, systems, technology, branding, marketing. And I started, exposing myself to, out there, meeting people. And we started building Sync Brokerage in towards the end of 2018.
Okay.
Wow.
Early 2018.
Right before the big COVID.
Yeah, but again, the way we built it, it was sustainable. So even during COVID-19, we were fine.
Years,
Yeah, we were fine. And started building the system, technology, all of this stuff. At the end of 2019, we got to 50 agents. 2020 COVID hit. So we shut down for a couple of days, and then we did on Zoom. So we jump in on Zoom, accountability meetings every day. It was supposed to be 20 minutes, but they ended up being an hour. So I was doing accountability meetings internally for our agents in the morning, and I was doing Zoom meetings, coaching and leadership, and streaming through Facebook to the industry every day at 2 p.m. Happy hours at 5:30 on Zoom. So we did that for about, I want to say at least 3 to 4 months for the industry, and we attracted a lot of agents.
Nice.
Because most companies were shut down.
Yeah.
We were not. We were active. And in 2021, we actually got a manager from the agency, a manager from Century 21, and a manager from Compass.
Oh, damn.
And so we had 2 locations then. 2021, there was a company that was going out in Florida, so there was an opportunity to acquire them. So we had a couple meetings. I ended up flying there, 42 agents. We took over that company in Florida, and so we expanded Sync Brokerage in Florida. And then at the same time, I came to a point where primarily we focus on luxury real estate, but we didn't have the power as a brand. So I said, the only thing I can do to make it stronger is take my brand into Beverly Hills, and that's either gonna make me or break me.
Yeah.
And just signing a lease in Beverly Hills was a struggle as a Latino. It's like, I mean, it felt like I was purchasing the building. So it was a struggle just breaking into that market as Latino. But I got one of the managers from the agency, right?
Yeah.
The look help. So I put him in the front end and I was in the back. So after Florida, we opened Florida in March. Right about May, we opened Beverly Hills here in LA. So we expanded. We had 4 locations in 2021. Nice. And we started just recruiting. Every location had a manager and just started kind of like focusing on building the company. Then in early 2022, I reached out to one of my friends. He's like a hedge fund guy. And I just asked him, like, let me show you what I built. Because at that time, we already had the technology platform that we have now. We started building it in 2019. And you tell me whether or not I have value to take these bigger and start raising money. So he saw it. I mean, we were making money, and the systems were great. So we actually started building, structuring the company financially, and also kind of like the corporation-wise. We reached out to a security law firm in New York. They created the same PPM agreement for Compass. Okay. They did our PPM agreement. In my mind and without experience, I was thinking, okay, this is going to be done in maybe 60, 90 days and we can raise $1 million. Just creating the PPM agreement and you know, going through the cycle of prepping the company for that, it took a year.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
Wow.
So here's the mistake, right? You learn as you go. When I got into Beverly Hills, I was already thinking I'm going to raise $1 million, so we're not going to have any problems financially because we're raising $1 million in the next 60 days.
Yeah.
And the guys that are helping us, they're going to find the money for us. So it happened to be that it took a year. Nobody went and got the money for us. Meanwhile, I was supporting the expansion and the capital investment to open new locations here in Miami, because that money that we were planning on raising, it took longer.
Yeah.
So it was like, shit, now what are we going to do? So anyway, somehow, you know, I have a lot of faith and a very positive mind. We made it happen. So we actually completed our first round in 2022, a year later. But the way we did it was, my vision has been, I want to build a company that whenever we sell it, I want my agents and I want my management team to capitalize on that as well.
Yeah.
I want to impact their life too.
Love that.
And so instead of raising money from investors outside, we came to the office and we said, look, this is what we built. These are the systems, these are the financials, this is the PPM agreement, and this is the vision.
Yeah.
We're raising X amount of money for this amount of shares. we're extending the opportunity to you first as part of the company before we go and bring people from outside.
Yeah.
That day, we sold it between 5 agents.
Wow.
So I raised my own money 2022, and we continue expanding from there. 2023, I think towards the end of 2023, early 2024, we launched our lending division, which is Lending Hub, and then we opened our own escrow company in California, which is Noah Escrow.
How do you say it?
Noah Escrow.
Noah Escrow?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was just watching the movie. I'm like, Noah Escrow sounds
Noah
cool. The salvation is coming.
And in the lending is
Lending Hub. Yeah.
full service lending like any other mortgage company?
Yeah.
Nice.
We do everything. And so since 2000, let's see, towards the end of 2023. So now that we have the infrastructure, the system, the concept, the technology, something that is sustainable, and we kind of like already, created a market share, and the company is known. Now the idea is, okay, we have something good. How do we take it IPO?
Yeah.
And so I started researching, and so far I think I reached out to probably 280 venture capital, family offices, and one of the interesting things is we are in the spot that you will hate to be. We're not small, we're not big. You're like right there in between,
Yeah.
where nobody wants you.
Yeah. So what is your agent count like at the moment?
Right now we have 180 closing.
damn.
Closing the 380 in Florida will be about 560, 550.
Nice.
Oh, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing that's going to be a big help. And
Yeah. So the goal for this year is 700 agents.
Okay.
wow.
Um,
And all of this like mentality, like where does it come from? Where does Andres get these ideas to go and like acquire other ones? Is it something that you've seen, or is it just
I
because I
learned.
mean, growing up, I mean, we were talking about earlier, our families really didn't talk about financial stuff and business stuff, but that's some pretty good stuff that you've done. All like, where is this mindset coming from, I guess?
I'll say the environment.
Okay. Adapting.
The environment, just the people that you surround yourself with. I've been blessed, and I've been around very successful people. And so when I see them talking about business, when I see them talking about the things they do, I'm like, okay, that's interesting. So for example, as I was learning real estate, one of my mentors, her husband owned or used to own this company called WSS. I think they also have in Texas. It's a shoe company, kind of like a big warehouse. And so they built this massive business for over 30 something years. So I got to, have conversations with the owner, the founder of that company, which about 4 or 5 years ago, they sold it to Foot Locker for $750 million.
Wow. That's awesome.
So when you get people, you're part of that environment, like my friend Matt Martin, just dropping names there.
Yeah.
He used to be the biggest asset manager for HOT.
I was one of their under them.
Yeah,
Matt
so
Martin Real Estate.
he built Chrono Solutions,
Yeah,
sold
Chrono
that
sold
company. He
That's
he
crazy.
has built other companies, and now he's a hedge fund guy. He's in in that world. So I reach out to him. We're very good friends, and I ask him questions, and he starts telling me like, this is how you do it, and then I start researching, reading books, and so kind of like the more you read, the more you expose yourself to that world,
Yes.
it becomes an addiction. At
Yep.
least to me,
Oh, yeah.
I'm addicted to it. So
Yep.
now it's like, okay, how do you raise funds? How do you structure the company? And so I'm learning about that, and so like nowadays that I'm exposed to that, I don't see my company as a real estate company or as a brokerage. I'm looking at things from a different perspective.
Yes. Yep.
For example, like talking about agent count, GCI, and volume. I'm not really focused on that. I'm focused more on margins and what's the EBITDA that I'm building now for 3 to 5 years out.
Yeah.
It's crazy how you look at companies. I was talking to an insurance agent there in Texas, and he was like, "Dude, we're not even an insurance company. We're a tech company." And I'm like, "What the fuck?" Like you think like but it's just people with different I guess, different visions, and I guess the vision is what gets you there eventually. But I think that's crazy to think that you've switched it all and kind of gone out of like that little thinking so small.
Yeah.
So growing up, I know we read a little bit about your bio. You said you learned a lot from your dad and how he negotiated. Like, what was some of the stuff that you said that you're like, man, this is like a key point. This is something that I'm going to continue with me in my business, because obviously you get the stuff as you grow up, and without even knowing it, sometimes you're doing it. What is something, as far as I know, you said negotiating was a tool that you picked up, or what was it that helped
I think
you?
that my work ethic, I got it from my dad.
Yeah.
My work ethic, I got it from my dad. He always was, actually my mom and my dad, they were self-employed together. And he was always working long hours, and the integrity and the values, I got those from my dad. Don't lie, don't cheat, don't steal, work hard and be responsible, pay your employees on time because they have families.
Yep.
And just do your best, right? But, at the same time, whether you make a lot or you don't make that much, when you are self-employed, you are your own boss. So you make, kind of like you decide how to live life. And then the sales part, now that I'm thinking, I got it from my mom. She was always in sales. And I mean, my mom, she talks a lot. she actually, when I take her to any of the projects or any house, she tries to sell me that house. So yeah, the sales, I got it from mom.
And your parents are from where?
Colombia.
Colombia.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
both.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. They're both from Colombia. So I got that from there. The entrepreneur thing, honestly, I think just nature.
Natural.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it just came natural.
Yeah.
Survival.
Yeah.
I guess survival. Like, you want to go back as an employee. The minute you kind of like become self-employed and you have that freedom, my personality, I cannot go and do the 9 to 5 or whatever is the time and work for somebody else. No.
Yep.
That's crazy. It's recently, or last year, a couple years ago, we had a leadership coach that we had hired, and she had all these doctorate degrees and stuff. And she said they did a research, I guess, with the university she was in trying to figure out what the word ganas means. Like, everybody say échale ganas, you know?
Yeah.
So they did all these research, and they asked all these people, and she was like, what does ganas mean to you? And everybody had something different. One said motivation, motivated, and another one said like enthusiastic. Like everybody had, but really it's like ganas. Like, that makes a lot of Latinos the people they are.
Yeah.
Just the ganas itself, and where it comes from, like you said, it's kind of natural.
It's a
crazy.
survival thing.
It's survival. Yeah.
It's the survival thing. That fire, it just gets bigger and bigger.
Yep.
The other thing is that once you start kind of like building things and then you're achieving certain targets, you realize like, shit, it's doable.
Yes.
So let me make it bigger
Yep.
and bigger. And it's like, if I just continue with the same mentality, stubborn, pushing through the walls and, putting the time and being resourceful, you'll get there.
Yeah.
So one of the other things that I do now, and that's why I'm so confident, I've been saying this for maybe the last 3 to 4 years, we're going to take the company IPO. How? I don't know. But here's the funny part. 4 years ago, I had no freaking idea how. I started learning, reach out to like 280 VCs, get rejected. I got like 12 meetings, phone calls on Zoom and over the phone. And most of these companies, they were telling me like, look, unless you're asking for $50 million or $100 million, my investors won't get out of bed. Like,
Interesting.
You're asking for too little. And then I went to, okay, maybe I'm asking for too little. So I went to angel investors, and they're like, no, you're asking for too much. I'm like, what the fuck? Which one it is?
Yeah.
You can't win.
Yeah.
You can't
But I got to this venture capital guy, and he already took 35 companies IPO.
Wow.
So he deals with that. He's been doing it for a long time. And persistence, just knocking on the same door until they're like, okay, tell me what do you want. I got to him through a guy in Canada. And it was just literally like, no shame and begging on the phone, like, just give me a meeting. Mm-hmm. And I got my first meeting, and I guess that the guy felt the energy and the fire that even if I'm very little as an investment company, he's like, okay, let's keep the conversation going. And I kept the conversation going for 1.5 years, updating him until he said, okay, let's have coffee. And then we had coffee, and he's like, there is something about you. I don't know what it is, but I know you're going to be very successful. Let me help you.
Yeah.
Let me make a few phone calls.
Oh, yeah.
So now that's the guy that we have now as a venture capital, how we're raising funds to buy companies out and start growing it, and we're learning a lot from them. So just, it shows right there that persistence will pay it off.
Yeah.
If you just keep knocking on the door.
Yes, yes. I like how you're very open about your failures, right? Like you're like, this is something that happened and you just move on from it. And so many people are like, they're shut off. They're like, they hit a failure and they're like, well, I guess this is never going to happen. And you're like, no, there's like a billion other ways on how to do this.
I love them.
That's awesome. Yeah.
I love them.
Yes.
And I have no shame. I think that if you look at most successful people build companies, they have a lot of failures.
Yeah.
And you learn from those. They make you stronger, and it activates that thing within you that is survival and being resourceful and creative and figure out a solution. So you come to a point that you learn how to love pain.
Yeah.
And honestly, it might sound weird, but I love pain, and in my mind, I'm already used to go to sleep with problems and get up with problems.
Yeah.
It's just part of life.
Part of life.
Yeah.
Another day.
It doesn't bother me at all.
No. And knowing that you can solve them, right? Like that's the piece. It's always that puzzle when you're waking up and you're like, okay, like I know I can do this. What can I do? And there's another portion of this that's going to end up being the best thing ever. So
you just raise your hand and ask for help and
Yes.
ask questions.
Yep.
That's the way to go. I gotta. So I heard you mention earlier that it was a struggle in getting in as far as into Beverly Hills being a Latino. We had the same struggle. I mean, being in Texas, there was not a lot of Latino agents, let alone we started this journey like at 19, 20 years old. So being young and Latino was like a double whammy for us.
Right.
But I was talking to Rudy Hernandez, which we talked earlier about the New World title. In Miami, I was asking him, like, what's your struggle? He's like, bro, no. Like, everybody's Latino over here. Like, everybody, there's Cubans, Puerto Ricans, everything. So it makes me think, like, in different markets, people obviously have different adjustments to make. Like, what is an adjustment or, like, I guess, like, a struggle that helped you kind of take off being Latino? Because at the end of the day, like, it's the real estate wasn't, created by Latinos. It was something that we kind of jumped on and gone in different ways and made it more creative. But what was something that for you entering the market? Was it like marketing? I know you said that your English wasn't the best.
Right.
What is something that you're like, fuck, like this is something that really held me back, but that you overcame it? Because I think people looking right now be like, well, shit, I have that right now. Like if this guy could do it, like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I always go back to the same, which is environment. Even though I'm Latino, and if I go back 15 years ago when I started, my English wasn't good at all. Like, I mean, I have accent by default, but even like making putting two sentences together, it was hard. But I was working in an environment that forced me to speak English only. I was working in an environment where the community was Jewish, Persians, Israelis, and Russians.
Okay.
That was my market area.
interesting.
So I was in an environment where and again, back then, the average price point was 780, 800,000
Wow.
when the market collapsed. And it was a market area where you have these Mediterranean homes and luxury properties, and you're dealing with Israelis, Persians, and Russians.
Wow.
Their English is also fucked up. My English is
Sounds
also...
igual.
But you learn their mentality, that they are not afraid of money and the way they do business. And then you pick things from those different cultures.
Yeah.
So now when you go back into your Hispanic community, we are raised in a different way. We have a different culture, different mentality about money and success.
Yes.
That even if you have a lot of money, you want to live in the same community because you're comfortable. You don't want to go and feel uncomfortable buying a house in a market area where it's, Persians, Israelis, and, so forth. So when you learn that, it gets you out of the comfort zone. It allows you to develop other skills that I guess the Hispanic community doesn't have in real estate. And when you come back to that market area, it's a lot easier to break into any market.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's something that when I go back to Florida with our agents there, I always tell them there is a lot of money in Miami.
Yeah.
And guess what? Everybody speaks Spanish.
Yeah.
So even if you don't know English, you can still make a lot of money because you have South American money, overseas money. Everybody speaks Spanish, and they have money.
Yeah.
So what's holding you back?
Yep.
It's not a language barrier.
No.
Yeah. And in Texas, where we're from, like everybody, like there's very few Spanish speaking agents. A lot being grown. So I'm originally from the border, and in the border towns, it was our parents wanted to speak English, but obviously we were on the other side.
Right.
You know, so it was like we're stuck in the middle. So a lot of people didn't know English. Like Vanessa's not fluent. She understands it completely because her grandma spoke it. I got lucky enough to be fluent. I played baseball in Mexico, so learning from back and forth and just growing up. My dad was from Mexico as well. But when I moved to San Antonio, I was like, man, nobody speaks Spanish over here. So that was one of my things that I used to kind of elevate myself in the business. The foreclosures was my niche, and then the Spanish speaking was just kind of like my extra, you know. But it's just crazy to think that if you go in a market where everybody, like, you know, it's an even playing field, you know. Maybe we should have moved to fucking Miami, dude.
And then the other thing is, like, in Miami, the work ethic is not there.
Really?
It's not there. No, they don't have the work ethic.
Really?
I've never. That's interesting.
Ask Rudy.
That's really.
Yeah,
and I think it may be. I mean, what do you think it is? It's just. The culture.
It's the culture. You have a lot of people from the Caribbean, so
slow life.
Slow life.
Yeah.
I mean, they're living life. I mean, everywhere you go is palm trees, and you feel that in their environment. They come to the office at 10, they go grab lunch, and then by 4 p.m. they're out.
Yeah.
Wow.
And whenever we go, we go every other month. 8:30 I'm in the office, and 8:30 p.m. we're still at the office. We don't eat because we zone out. My wife and I, we zone out. We don't, and it's just like these agents are like, we cannot keep up with you.
Yeah.
But that's the culture from LA.
Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, it depends on the culture.
So earlier you were talking about your time management when you first started in the industry. So it was, this is what I do, 2 hours, and then I go here and I do this. Is that something that you learned, or is that something that you're just like, I just got to fill up this time? Like, what do I do?
I learned that.
Okay.
Again, asking successful agents, what is it that works for you? And this is something that I tell my agents nowadays. First thing you want to do is you need a structure for your business.
Yep.
That means you need to have a schedule. And once you do that, and that becomes your lifestyle, your routine, you don't need to worry about the calendar or schedule. It's like, it's already part of my lifestyle.
Habits. Yep.
And, I always say real estate is simple. We make it complicated. We choose to make it complicated, but making money in real estate is simple. Just show up, prospect, zone out, go after numbers, whether it's in the morning and afternoon, and follow up.
Yep.
Whatever is it that you do for real estate as prospecting, just do it consistently and have a really good follow-up system.
Yes.
And that's it.
Yeah.
But thinking about, so we're saying we're actually in town for a conference, not real estate related, it's business related. That's in every fucking business, bro. Exactly what you said right now.
Anything.
It's just like, it's the playbook. I like that you threw into the follow-up, because the follow-up
is the main thing.
the biggest piece.
Look, generating leads is easy.
Yeah.
I have an agent that he was doing a lot of open houses. He was doing 2 open houses per week.
Oh, damn.
So call it, every time you do an open house, at least you have 2 to 3 leads, right?
Yep.
So you're generating about 4 to 6 leads per week. Times 4, you're generating about 18 leads a month. And you don't have transactions in escrow. What's going on?
Yeah.
Something is going on. So if you're an agent that you don't take the time to study your business and see, okay, where is the gap? And I need to close that gap. Generating leads is easy. Following up with those leads, the process takes different skills. And even to the point of like following up with people, that takes a skill of persistence and having a structure or a system to follow up with those leads. The stronger that system is, the more closings you're gonna have.
Yes.
So it's not about working longer hours or more, but it's about having a good system to follow up. Yeah. I think that a lot of the agents right now, in general, all of us, we don't have a good follow-up system, and the ones that they do, those are the ones killing it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Actually, one of my questions was, well, what's your advice for new agents? I think you just killed it there, but is there something else you could piggyback on that, or what is your thought? Because, I mean, I don't know about the LA market, but the San Antonio markets, it died down a little bit, but it's really picking up. So I feel like the momentum is coming. So now it's up to it's up to the structured realtor to take advantage. You know what I'm saying? Because a couple years ago, anybody could sell a house. Anybody, those have slowly transitioned out. But what's advice for new agents right now that are looking? Maybe they did start back then, and shit slowed down for them, and now they're scrambling. We've seen a lot of licenses transferred to different brokers, but sometimes it's not the brokerage. You know what I'm saying?
I would say sometimes it's not the broker. Yeah, the agent will always find a reason to blame the company or the broker.
Yes.
Because they don't want to take responsibility. Period.
Yep.
So now, if you take responsibility and you see, okay, I'm not working enough. I think that every company has something of value to offer.
Yeah.
It depends on the agent, what they're looking for. I'll say that as a new agent nowadays, I would say that if you want to avoid mistakes and be more effective, I'll probably join a team. I will probably join whether a team or a high producer. I will hold their open houses, run for the water, to learn and have things to do, like at least open houses where I can expose myself and start learning and generate leads. If they have volume, okay, even if you pay me 40%, 50%, I'm going to use that as I'm learning.
Yes.
I'm paying my dues. That's my university. I wouldn't be focused so much on a higher split, looking for that 80, 90% or 100% with the cap. I will be looking more at what can I learn from the best producer in my market area. And if that person is busy, most likely by default, I'm going to be busy. I'm going to be learning the skills. And then eventually, once I'm prepared, then I can venture out on my own and copy paste what I learned and start building my own.
Love that.
That's what I would do as a new agent.
Yep.
Why struggle on your own?
Yeah.
Why struggle on your own?
Yes.
And I think a lot of times, so there was obviously the change in the real estate structures. I know you said like you looked into Keller Williams back in the day, and they're changing shit all the time. There's companies bringing on new fees, I think it's just like the brokers are gonna adjust. So why are you gonna be committed on something if at the end of the day, stuff's gonna change? Splits, I don't know how is it over here, but splits for us has always been kind of like, you get what you put into it. There's other companies. We have a good friend that runs a flat fee brokerage. He does that works for him. There's subscription models. There's different models, but I think the mentality of a new agent, I agree with you, is kind of like paying your dues. It's just kind of hard sometimes for them to swallow, because a lot of agents, if they do come from a corporate job or they do come from, they're gonna be like, fuck that. Why am I gonna give this guy 50% or why and it's a struggle for sure. And I'm sure you run into it when interviewing agents.
Having the mentality, you cannot be greedy. You have to understand that, hey, the person that is coaching you and is leading you, that person has been doing it for 15, 20, 30 years.
Yes.
So their experience has a value, which it will save you money and time, because if you make a mistake, it's going to cost you more than 50%.
Yep.
So I would say just focus more on the value. Always focus more on the value and whether or not you can learn from that person and build your business from there. Going for the highest split at the beginning, sooner or later it's going to be, it's going to cost them more money.
Because you're there by yourself and you're doing all the things.
You're exposing,
on your own.
You're taking on the risk.
Yep. And you're making all of the mistakes, because that's what we did in the very beginning, where we were like, well, let's just figure it out. You take so much longer. If we would have just gone and said, show me your ways, I'll do whatever you want. And it's crazy too, because we had talked about, we have these listings and we have foreclosures and we have all these things. And then we're like, hey, does anybody want to do an open house? And they're like, no.
Oh, wow.
No, like that. We would be there.
Yeah.
I was out there putting out signs. We were knocking on doors. You had to do what you had to grind in order to get any business. And we were getting very little business at that time. But
you were saying, like he was saying about the struggle about the cell phone. Our struggle was like not having access to the MLS or we had a super key back in the day. So that super key obviously cost you money. So my mindset was like, fuck that, we'll just go buy the HUD key and I could access all the homes. I could show homes all day. So that was our ticket. Like we found something and ran with it within our budget. You have to. And I think nowadays everybody's like, what are you going to give me? You know what I'm saying? Like, what's the exchange? So it's a different culture for sure.
It's different.
It's a different thing. But I think as brokers and owners, we adjust and we adapt and we have to, because at some point, everybody that's coming into that door is having that same mentality.
So I will say if you allow that.
Yeah.
So for example, I don't deal with that often because number one, I don't go after new agents and I don't go after part-time agents.
Ooh, I love this.
So as a boutique, we hyper focus on the best agents in the market share. So if I see, let's say I'm Glendale, right? We're in Glendale. So for example, and I did that already. The best producer here in Glendale, her name is Teresa. She's with Coldwell Banker.
Okay.
I will reach out to her. She spoke at one of my events, and we already had lunch. And she's a $75 million producer.
Holy shit.
Wow.
So I'm going for the best agents. And my pitch is, look, I want to build the best brokerage as a boutique with less agents, but the killers in the industry.
So let me ask you this. So for the people coming in, you put them under like a top agent like this. So for the new agents that you said, like,
I don't go
or you
for
don't
new
even-
agents. No.
Wow.
This.
Okay.
I go for experienced producing agents because for the minute they're walking through my door, we're making money together.
Yeah.
So if I hire a new agent, I have to build, coach, and babysit that agent. And
Yeah.
nothing against that. There is nothing wrong.
Yeah.
We all started somewhere, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But again, as a business owner, this agent, I'm going to spend a lot of resources. Maybe they might sell, they might not sell in 6 months to a year. I'll make one closing rather than going for the high producer that is walking in with, hey, I got 5 closings. I just need support and help, doing that. Now, don't take me wrong. We do case by case. When there is a new agent and they don't have experience, as long as they are full time, and once you interview someone, I will tell you in the first 15 seconds, you can tell someone has fire or not.
Yeah.
And if I feel, okay, this person has the fire and they're hungry and coachable, I'll take on that new agent and I'll build a superstar.
Yeah.
Right? But if, I'm a new agent, I just got my license, I'm still going to school, I live with my parents, and, I just thought it was cool. I saw, selling sunset. I'm like, I'm not your brokerage. I'll refer you to KW, and then if they build you and you're successful, I'll go and get you in 3 years.
There you go.
I'll take you once you're trained.
Yeah.
I wanted to pick your brain, so I have a couple questions for you, just kind of stats, just so the audience knows, who you are, where you work, and kind of the demographic. And then Vanessa will kind of wrap up with some fun questions she wanted just to personally. But so how many agents are in your area? So LA County, is there, what's the amount
In
of
my San Fernando Valley, we got about 12,000 agents.
12,000.
That's just San Fernando Valley. LA, I would say in LA, we have, Jesus, 350,000.
Oh,
Wow.
We got a lot of agents. We have the competition here is heavy.
that is
That's
fucking crazy.
crazy.
Just in my valley, and I'm talking like San Fernando Valley is maybe, I'll say maybe 10 mile. It's a 10-mile radius, right?
Yeah.
You have 12,000 agents there.
We freak out because in San Antonio, we're over 1 million people, but we have 15,000.
We have a lot of agents.
I was like,
yeah, LA has a lot of agents.
Wow.
that is freaking insane. So that's like, everybody's an agent. No, your
Everybody,
tío,
everybody has a license.
That's crazy.
It comes on the cereal.
What's the sales price in San Fernando Valley? Like, what is the median sales price, más o menos? Like,
Our sales price right now, the average is 1.3.
okay.
Yeah,
What does 1.3 look like?
1.275.
Not like, 2-story, 2,000 square feet, or
The 1.2 in our area will get you 1,800 square feet.
Okay.
not bad.
Yeah, 3-4 bedrooms.
Nice.
Wow.
About that.
Yeah.
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 And I know you talked about kind of like the vision for your company, but what is in 5 years? Where do you see Sync Brokerage being? Like, what is like your
Nationwide IPO.
nationwide IPO? Even Texas.
Yeah, I have an LLC for Texas. It just never. So the way I'm doing it is I'm creating joint ventures with other broker owners.
Okay.
Once I share with them like my tech platform, the way we do business, we're not corporate, we're family oriented, culture, happiness, all of that stuff. We have a lot of fun. And if there is an alignment of values and vision, then we create a joint venture and then we span to another market area. Mm-hmm. So doing that, the goal is to just be nationwide as one of the first boutiques going IPO. Because right now you have traditional companies IPO, which is Douglas Elliman Compass, and maybe a few other. And then cloud-based, you have Real EXP. That's it. So, but if you think about it, you don't have a hybrid or a boutique company going IPO.
Yeah.
That only concentrates on quality agents, quality people, quality service.
Yep.
So that's gonna be us. And you don't have a real estate company IPO that is owned by a Latino.
Yes.
There you go.
Yes.
That's
I love
awesome.
that. I love that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And what are your so in 5 years your daughters will be older, right?
Yeah. In 5 years.
High school.
No, they're already in high school.
Oh, they're already
I
in
got
high school.
three. One of them. I have 3 years left. She's about to be 18 in 3 years. So
Wow.
she'll be probably out
Are they
of
going
high
to be
school.
working at Sync or they're going their own way?
So they are shareholders in Sync.
There you
Okay.
go.
They bought shares in Sync, and one of them, the older one, she really likes what we do.
Okay.
She actually works for the company now, so she gets a paycheck.
Yeah.
Nice.
And so everything that we do, we involve the kids.
Good.
Whether it's like business meetings, we take them. They understand a lot about business. They actually give us feedback. Whenever I'm making a deal, they're like, "That's too much percentage." Papa." They know the business. They know the employees. They know the agents. They're part of the business, so they're growing with that mentality. So
Good.
most likely they'll be working for Sync.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, hopefully.
For that,
Who
for
knows?
you giving them, especially female Latinas, to have them in those rooms, you have no idea what you're giving them. Because,
Oh my God,
yeah.
I'm absolutely.
Yeah.
Even through my wife, like she speaks in big rooms with like 700 people, and she takes my daughters to those events.
Yeah.
So they see my wife and I speaking and holding conference and seminars and stuff like that, and they're part of the whole process. They're learning with a level of confidence that, when they're in college and they have to do a presentation,
It'll be
they'll be
nothing.
comfortable.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
They're comfortable around men. They don't feel less. They're super confident.
Good.
Yeah.
That's
I
awesome.
love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Can you imagine when they get older, what that's going to look like for them, like their level of confidence? And because we always talk about too, like with our kids, we're always saying like, you always, what you were born into, you're always trying to do better for your kids. And I mean, our parents always tried to do as best as they could for us. But it's like, do you ever think, and this is something I actually just talked to Robert about earlier, I'm like, do you ever think like we give them too much? Are we going in and telling them like, man, because you don't have them struggle, right? Like you're wanting to do so much for them, but at some point, are they going to have a hustle too? So what is your thought process with that, with your kids as well?
I let them hustle now.
Good.
Even though we have the means and resources, I don't provide their wants. I provide their needs, which is roof, housing, good school, everything they need as, parents,
Yeah.
respect, good values, everything, right? Obviously, within that, frame. But if they want expensive stuff, like my older daughter, she buys these, what's the name? Spider?
Okay.
It's $400 for a hoodie.
Oh, damn.
Dude.
Yeah.
And so whenever she wants one of those, she's working for the company, helping the marketing department. She doesn't even report to us.
Yeah.
She actually, her boss is the marketing director, because I don't want to deal with that.
Yeah.
And so she gets her paycheck, and if she wants to blow it out, that's your money, so you can start feeling it.
Yeah.
So we're teaching them how to hustle, and
Good.
honestly, I think that they have that by nature, because they come up with these crazy ideas for businesses. So the little one, she actually made popsicles at the house.
Okay.
And then she invited the entire community to come and buy popsicles on Saturday. Within 2 hours, she made $180 selling popsicles made at home. And the investor was mom.
Yeah.
Angel investor.
Yeah. And so they have that by nature. They really enjoy it. They know every single chapter in Shark Tank.
Okay.
So all of the hustle is there.
Yeah.
And they see us.
Yeah.
They see mom. They see me working long days, long hours, nonstop on the road. So I do work every single day on making sure they have the hustle.
Good. Yeah.
But yeah, from time to time you question yourself as a parent.
Yeah.
Am I giving them too much? Or maybe I'm not giving them enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's normal.
Yes. Good. It's all good.
You just gotta be
right?
you just gotta be conscious.
Yep.
Yeah. We make them part of charity events and things like that, like
Good.
giving back to the community, helping homeless and kids, for Christmas and stuff like that. Now we're planning to go to I think it's in TJ to go and help build houses.
Okay.
And one of the plans for Sync is to open the nonprofit where we're gonna take a percentage from the top going into that nonprofit,
Ooh.
and at the end, whatever it is, let's go and try to build something with that,
Yeah.
or
Great
give it
idea.
to a charity. So
Yeah.
It's a great idea.
yeah,
I love that. I love that. Giving back to the community. Absolutely.
it has to be meaningful.
Yes.
It has to be
Yep.
meaningful. I think that we are very blessed. So
That's
one way or
awesome.
another, share the blessings.
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I love that.
Do you want to ask the questions?
Yeah.
Vanessa had some
Oh,
questions,
wow.
like some,
Oh my
they call it
goodness.
rapid fire.
Rapid fire.
So rapid
Rapid
fire,
fire.
just like off the top of your head, I think.
All right. You ready?
Am I?
Good deal. Tacos or tamales?
Tacos.
Tacos.
Morning person or night owl?
Morning person.
Hell yeah.
What time?
4:30.
Okay.
Hey, we're at
Yeah.
4, right before you.
Wow.
I'll call you to wake you up. Al otro te hablo.
One song that gets you hyped before a big deal.
Keep pushing.
Which is that one?
That one is by Keep Pushing is by I think it's JC.
Okay.
Yeah.
Keep pushing.
Nice. Best vacation spot for when you need to unplug.
I will say Hawaii.
Damn.
Perfect. One thing you do every single day, no matter how busy you are.
Meditate and exercise.
Nice. If your life was a movie, what would it be called?
From the street to Wall Street.
Yes, I love that.
Man, that's awesome. It's great to always see different people in the industry. Of course, Latino.
Yeah.
So we're very involved with our rep locally, and we go to the conferences, and we love seeing people that look like us, that talk like us, and
Right.
stuff. So this is the whole thing of how we started the idea of getting this podcast. Like, let's connect more on a see what because you could see people in passing
Right,
or on social media, but until you really talk to people, I think it makes a big difference. And we appreciate you, man, coming out. I know
Absolutely.
it's 4:45. You're probably gonna hit traffic on the
I'm
way
good.
back, man.
It's a
It took a
pleasure.
lot. I know we rescheduled a couple times, and I was like, shit, we need
And
to
it
get
was-
him on here. And
yeah.
I'm glad we did, and
Yeah,
we
yeah.
adjusted our stuff, and
Thank you. I
mainly
appreciate
just
that.
to learn more about you, what you're doing, and kind of highlight people like you, man, because
Appreciate
I
that.
think a lot of the younger agents, I have 2 nephews that are 20 and 21 and 23 that they're licensed under us,
Oh,
and
that's
sometimes
they have a huge opportunity.
Yeah.
dude,
Yes.
and they not only them but people of their age range need to see people like you
Mm-hmm.
and kind of see like, hey, this is possible. Same struggle, same everything, same background. Look at that,
Yeah,
like it's
yeah.
all the same thing. So really appreciate you, man, and,
Of course.
can't wait to get this episode out and push
I
it
love
out.
it.
and-
I love it. Can't wait to see it. And just keep doing what you guys are doing. Next time I'm in Texas, I'm gonna go and see you guys in San
You
Antonio.
have to.
Don't try to-
Absolutely.
As long as you're not buying us out.
Never know.
We might venture. you never know. You never know. A joint venture. Yeah. So
I love
yeah,
it.
no, absolutely. Thank you guys.
Awesome,
I
man.
appreciate you.
Thank
very
you.
much.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank
that
you.
was good.
That was awesome.
That
You
was
wanna
awesome.
take-
Yeah.